And we're back again at Deuteronomy chapter 24. I think we were at verse 14. My voice is giving out, and I do apologize. Anyways, verse 14. You shall not oppress an hired servant who is poor and needy, whether he be of your brethren or of your strangers who are Gentiles, who are in your land within your gates. At his day you shall give him his hire, neither shall the sun go down upon it. For he is poor, and sets his heart upon it, lest he cry against you unto the Lord, and it be a sin unto you. Notes, at the end of each day's work, the wages for that day were to be paid to the people who worked, okay? That's teaching honesty to the people who are in charge of things. Verse 16. The fathers shall not be put to death for the children, neither shall the children be put to death for their fathers. Every man shall be put to death for his own sin. Notes. Now, this passage completely and totally obliterates the modern false teaching of a family curse. Okay? Verse 17. You shall not pervert the judgment of the stranger, nor of the fatherless, nor take a widow's raiment to pledge. But you shall remember that you were a bondman in Egypt, and the Lord your God redeemed you thence. Therefore I command you to do this thing. Notes. Okay, now to enforce this, the people are reminded that they themselves as a nation have been in the condition of strangers and bondmen in Egypt. Now there are two obvious types of bondmen. There are bondmen that are treated very, very well, and there are bondmen who are not treated very well. Guess which one they had? They were treated like they were less than dirt. Okay? So God brings that to their mind. Verse 19. When you cut down your harvest in your field, and have gotten a sheaf in the field, you shall not go again to fetch it. It shall be for the stranger, for the fatherless, and for the widow, that the Lord your God may bless you in all the work of your hands. Notes. In a sense, this was at least a part of God's welfare program. Verse 20. When you beat your olive tree, you shall not go over the boughs again. It shall be for the stranger, for the fatherless, and for the widow. Notes. In other words, leave something for some poor folks, okay? Not everybody's on your level. Verse 21. When you gather the grapes of your vineyard, you shall not glean it afterwards. It shall be for the stranger, for the fatherless, and for the widow. And you shall remember that you were a bondman in the land of Egypt, and therefore I command you to do this thing. Chapter 25. If there be a controversy between men, and they come into judgment, that the judges may judge them, then they shall purify the righteous, and they shall condemn the wicked. And it shall be, if the wicked man be worthy to be beaten, that the judge shall cause him to lie down, and to be beaten before his face, according to his fault, by a certain number. 40 stripes he may give him, and not exceed, lest if he should exceed, and beat him above these with many stripes, then your brothers should seem vile unto you. Notes. 40 is God's probationary number. However, such punishment was to be rendered by the judge, and not at all by individuals taking the law into their own hands, okay? Vigilante justice was really, really looked down upon. Verse 4. You shall not muzzle the ox when he treads out the wheat. Notes. The leaving of the ox unmuzzled when treading out the grain was in order that the animal might be free to eat of the grain which its labor severed from the husk. This prohibition, therefore, was dictated by a regard for the rights and claims of animals employed in labor. But there is involved in it the general principle that all labor is to be duly requited, whether by an animal or by a man. And hence Paul uses this very verse to proclaim the necessity of supporting the work of God. That's 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 9. And also, this also teaches respect for God's creation, okay? If that animal is going to go out there and do things nice for you, then you at least need to feed it and take care of it, okay? Verse 5. If brethren dwell together, and one of them die and have no child, the wife of the dead shall not marry without unto the stranger. Her husband's brother shall go in unto her, and take her to him to wife, and perform the duty of an husband's brother unto her. Notes. Well, that is, if he was not already married, or if the woman had no children. Verse 6. And it shall be that the firstborn which she bears shall succeed in the name of his brother which is dead, that his name be not put out of Israel. Notes. Shall be enrolled in the family register as heir of the deceased, and shall perpetuate his name. Now this had to do with the fact that the Messiah would come from a certain family in Israel, hence each family was to be kept intact as far as possible. Verse 7. And if the man like not to take his brother's wife, then let his brother's wife go up to the gate unto the elders, and say, My husband's brother refuses to raise up unto his brother a name in Israel. He will not perform the duty of my husband's brother. Then the elders of his city shall call him and speak unto him, and if he stand to it and say, I like not to take her, then shall his brother's wife come unto him in the presence of the elders, and loose his shoe from off his foot, and spit in his face, and shall answer and say, So shall it be done unto the man who will not build up his brother's house. And his name shall be called in Israel, the house of him who has his shoe loosed. Notes. An example of this is found in Genesis chapter 38, even long before the law was given. Verse 11. When men strive together one with another, and the wife of the one draws near for to deliver her husband out of the hand of him who smites him, and puts forth her hand and takes him by the secrets, then you shall cut off her hand, your eye shall not pity her. Notes. Well, this is talking about she shall not induce such pain by bruising the testicles, which could make the man impotent, okay? There's a law pretty obvious as to why that's not acceptable. You could actually be killing that man's family before he ever has a chance, and it's all because of some stupid scuffle, okay? Verse 13. You shall not have in your bag diverse weights, a great and a small. But you shall have a perfect and just weight, a perfect and just measure shall you have, that your days may be lengthened in the land which the Lord your God gives you. For all who do such things and all who do unrighteously are as an abomination unto the Lord your God. Notes. Okay, obviously this is talking about having the honest weights and the honest balances and the honest measurements. Honesty is to be impeccable in every single thing. Whatever comes out of your mouth better line up. Okay? Verse 17. Remember what Amalek did unto you by the way when you were come forth out of Egypt, how he met you by the way and smote the hindmost of you, even all who were feeble behind you, when you were faint and weary, and he feared not God. Therefore it shall be, when the Lord your God has given you rest from all your enemies round about in the land which the Lord your God gives you for an inheritance to possess it, that you shall blot out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven. You shall not forget it. Okay? Notes. Amalek was to be utterly destroyed, not so the Egyptian. The Egyptian pictures man as such, the Amalekite man as the willing agent of evil. This means that the attitude of the Christian towards ordinary men of this world is necessarily different from that towards the willing and determined enemies of goodness and justice, okay? We'll have to pick up in Deuteronomy chapter 26. I'll probably finish my notes. Thank you very much.